3434.
This is Lewis Hart for the Ring Magazine. Delighted today to be joined with Frank Smith here on a nice Friday evening in Nottingham ahead of Dalton Smith fighting for the European title on Saturday night. How's things, mate? How are you? Good to see you.
Good, mate. Good to be here in Nottingham. Windy, cold, rainy, but apart from that, what more could you ask for?
Can't ask so much.
We wouldn't be in Vegas. We don't want to be in Vegas.
Not at all, mate. Not at all.
We'd like the weather of Vegas here, but apart from that, we're in the best possible spot.
Yeah, it seemed pretty lively. So I see He was with Mayweather, with Shakur. Who else was there? Crawford as well. So you're getting busy, mate.
Yeah, he was there. Shakur's sparring. Mayweather was there, as you say. I'm not sure he's always had the best words to say about Floyd Mayweather. So I think maybe there was a bit of back and forth there. Terence Crawford. I saw the two of them going. Could you imagine them two putting it on Eddie? Yeah, it would end in milliseconds, wouldn't it?
What did you make of the Instagram post? It was like 3 generational greats and himself in the middle.
I mean, look, he's funny.
Yeah.
The thing is, you can't take him too seriously, and a lot of people take him very seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, take him seriously on some things.
Yeah.
But it's all a game, and don't read into it too much. He probably will go down as a great at boxing, sadly.
I'm sure it'd be hard for a lot of people to hear.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you say, all weighed in for Dalton Smith. Looked good on the scales ahead of a big night on Saturday night. And as I say, the three fighters top of the bill are all really solid fights. As you say, Harry Scarf and Conah Walker, Eddie Scott and Masoud. So really a solid night to kick off the domestic schedule in 2025.
Yeah, look, Dalton looks superb. He makes weight so well. He came into the weigh and he looked great. He's refueled now as well. He's got to take this fight seriously. This is his chance from here. He wins that final belt he's been looking for, and then after this he moves on to the world title fights. And sometimes when it's people say the opponent isn't of the same level, sometimes a fight can overlook that. I think Dalton knows he needs to put in a great performance because he needs to stay relevant. He needs to stay in people's minds. So for Dalton, it's an important night. Ellie Scotney's going to be in a great fight. She's undoubtedly number one in the division. She's done great things. She's always in great fights. But Mia Motu's coming to fight tomorrow night. This is her chance to take that throne away from her. Harry Scarf, Conah Walker, another brilliant fight. Conah Walker, someone who, as I've said on many occasions, been involved in some of the best fights I've been at live recently. He always brings the action, and he's got to do that against Harry. There's that spite, there's that back and forth between them, and I think he'll go straight out there and put it on him, and that's what he's got to do from the first round.
When you have a fighter just touching Conor there, and you say, even though there's been fights where he hasn't been victorious, look at the Crocker fights and other fights like that, how good is it to have a fighter like Conor where you know what you're going to, what you say is what you get, you know what you're going to get from someone like him?
Yeah, 100%. But look, the reality is, and we talk about it so much, losses shouldn't define fighters. What should define you is, did you go in there, give it your everything, and give entertainment? People want to be entertained. At the end of the day, we're all watching sport to be entertained. We're not all watching to watch formalities of events that what the outcome's going to be. And every time Conah Walker gets in that ring, he does exactly that. So to work with a fighter who gives that 100% every time he gets in there, and also a huge following. Those two guys have got 900 odd people coming tomorrow on early January. January's never an easy month to sell tickets. They've got huge support everywhere they go, and it's going to be some atmosphere in there for that fight for sure.
Just touching on Dalton there, when it does come to the future, and I know you say you're not overlooking Saturday night, but he is within touching distance of a world title, and is it exciting to see, as I say, someone like Dalton from the start and that potential there to be a world champion? Yeah,
look, there's no better feeling than working with a fighter from day one, from their professional debut all the way through. We've been lucky. We've been in boxing such a long time now to have had a number of those over the years that we've done that with, and Dalton's another character that we've invested our time, effort, into because we believed in him from the start, and there's a number of fighters that you go on that journey with, and not all of them, get to the end goal of where they always thought they would do. But to be on this journey with him is special, and I think, within the year, I think you'll be seeing him fighting for a world title. He's number 2 with the WBC. Puello and Sandor Martin fight for the belt on March 1st. You've got Devin Haney's the champion in recess. There's a lot going on in that 140 division, and he'd fight all of those tomorrow.
And I know there's always going to be talk of the Adam Azim fight, but one fight I don't think gets talked about enough, where it's very close to now. Let's say Dalton, gets a shot at the WBC, or even so, we see Jack Catterall obviously fighting in a couple of weeks' time against Barboza, who's the WBO interim. Do you foresee that being a potential, let's say, down the line, a unification or a fight down the line? It doesn't really get talked about much, but Dalton's not far from that fight now.
I think it doesn't get spoken about because Jack's been in the game a long, long time when you think about it in some of the fights he's been involved in. But I think they're both on that path now over the next 12, 18 months where that fight is realistic. I think, as you say, Jack is going to fight for the WBO interim, could be elevated to the full championship prior to the fight, or the winner could be elevated after if Teofimo decides to move up. And if Dalton can win that WBC title, what a unification. Two British fighters coming together. They're the kind of fights we want to see. We've got Richardson, Hitchins as well, the IBF champion at 140. We could be in a great position. We already are in the 140 division, but can you imagine with the belts over the next 9-12 months?
Just touching on there, you mentioned Richardson, Hitchins. I see obviously Teofimo has now signed with Keith Connolly, who manages Richardson, Hitchins as well. He teased on his Instagram story, big fight next for both. Is a unification between the two of them a really likely possibility?
Possibly. Look, there's a lot going on with Teofimo as well, I think, with Top Rank. There's been talk in the past as well about him moving up to 147 possibly. So I think we have to see how that plays out. With all the fighters we represent, as much as we want to make unifications, at the same time you don't want to hold up fighters' careers, and you want to make great fights that are relevant and keep them active, keep them busy. But we'll see how the next few months go from there.
A big announcement yesterday. I mean, it was probably one of the worst kept secrets in boxing, but the date and the venue has been announced for Chris Eubank Jr. against Conor Benn, Tottenham Hotspur. And I know I interviewed you last Friday, and you were sort of just pretending it just didn't exist. But yeah, good to see obviously a massive stadium fight and the date all announced.
100%. I love the Tottenham Stadium. We did that Joshua Usyk fight back there in 2021. Obviously, Fury fought Chisora there in 2022 as well. It's a brilliant venue. I have to say, probably one of the best in Europe. I've been lucky enough to go to a lot of places, best in Europe, and one of the top ones in the world as well. They built that stadium not just for football but for other live events as well. Lucky to be hosting that there. It's going to be packed out. This fight is huge. We've spoken about it for a long time. Probably the biggest fight in British boxing right now, with Tyson Fury retired, and that AJ fight not there right now. The biggest fight in British boxing, and something we've waited so long for. It's been nearly 2.5 years since the original date, and if you think back to how big it was back then, I mean, this is going to be 10 times that.
Just to confirm and be clear, because I saw a graphic that Boxer put out yesterday, and there was no mention of it being a middleweight fight. Just to be 100% clear, it is at 160.
Yeah, 160. Yeah, the fight's made at 160. That weight. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And as I said, I know it was something I asked you on Friday about the whole rehydration clause, but I did speak to Ben Shalom on Tuesday, and he mentioned about sort of his disagreement with the rehydration clause, and he spoke about it being a last-minute thing. As negotiations went on, was it sort of something that was put in the last minute with the rehydration clause?
No. I mean, I'm not one of those people to pull things up, right? But I will tell you, probably, because I don't like the idea that it wasn't in there, right? So, and I'm not saying it was agreed ages ago, by the way.
Yeah.
But it was mentioned, right? So we were speaking about this fight back in November.
Okay.
And it was raised, and it was subject to further discussions around a second day weigh-in.
Yeah.
As I said in multiple interviews, rehydration clause is the wrong term to give it. Yeah. Ultimately, it's a second day weigh-in, like the IBF would have, in a fight. It's a second day weigh-in. The IBF do it for their championship fights. A number of huge fights over the years have had this in place. And people talk about, like, Conor's making a big jump up to 160. The first fight was at 157, and Chris had never made 157. This fight is at 160. This is Chris's natural weight. Conor moving up 2 weight divisions to go there. It's all a negotiation, isn't it? Yeah. And ultimately, Chris is happy to do it. He's amenable to it. He agreed to it. But it's not like it was never mentioned before. It's something that's been in there, and it was subject to discussion. Just like every point is subject to discussion until the contract's signed. I don't think I don't know Chris's weight. I don't know. I'm not his nutritionist, but he's never been a big middleweight.
Yeah.
Hence why when he moved to 168, he quite quickly came back down to 160 for his natural weight. So I don't see I don't see it being any issue anyway. You know, and it's not. People confuse it as well. It's not you can't get in the ring at more than 170.
Yeah.
It's at a set time, just like the IBF would do. Yeah. If you come in over, like you don't weigh before you get in the ring.
Yeah. You know. So from that case, and I think would you say Conor is at a more detriment when he does have to come up at 2 weights?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. 100%. Like Conor is coming up. But again, Conor has agreed to do it.
Rather than Chris having to weigh in.
It's no excuses. Do you know what I mean? Like from anywhere. It's like you've both agreed to deal at terms. Is it a big jump for Conor Benn? Yes, coming up 2 weight divisions for Conor Benn is a big jump. You know, Chris has made one. I'm not saying Chris makes 160 easy. I don't know. I'm not in his camp. But that is his natural weight division that he's been at for a long, long time, and always said he's comfortable doing, and has always been his focus. You know, he wants to win middleweight world titles, etc., etc. So, you know, I think Conor is taking the bigger leap really there. More on that fight as well. And I listened this morning to Talk Boxing with Johnny Nelson, Simon Jordan, Spencer Oliver, and this is more, I guess, a case of not just them three, but as a narrative in general of the thing with Conor Benn, of him hiding behind this confidentiality, and that was something that was mentioned. How do you respond to those claims that Matchroom and Benn are hiding behind this confidentiality? That's just like a cop-out answer to any question that it may be. It's also a cop-out answer the other way around, isn't it? If he would have lost the case and it was confidential, you know. So ultimately, they asked him, or the world asked him to deal with this matter, right? Yeah. So he dealt with it one way with the WBC, weren't happy with it. He went through the first process, etc., etc. Carried on. It ended up with the NADP holding their process that they do for UCAD. The NADP, an independent panel who are specialists within this field, made a decision. Yeah. You know, they made a decision to clear Conor Benn, right? Yeah. That is their job to do, to either clear him or find him guilty. Yeah. What did they do? They cleared him for a reason that they determined was the right reason. Yeah. You know, if ultimately Spencer Oliver, Johnny Nelson and Simon Jordan are the judge and jury, bloody hell, I'd be worried. Like, it's quite scary, to be honest, because these are the almighty righteous ones, aren't they?
Yeah, but that saying there, like when just aside from those three, and when it does come to a public, do you understand like why people maybe not have a concern but have a bit of frustration when certain people want to know the answers, and when it's just said, oh, it's confidential, you won't know. But
the answer is, was he cleared? Yes or no?
People want to know why.
Yeah, I know, but I've had people, say that I'm talking rubbish, but I don't understand it all, right? Because it's not my field. Yeah. I don't work in doping, right? I don't understand it. There are specialists who are put in place to review, I'm sure, lots and lots of evidence, information. Like, I've never been involved in a doping case. I've been involved in other legal matters, right? That take, 5,000 bits of paper, evidence, documentation to go through, go through all this stuff in other legal matters. Yeah. And it's a lengthy process. Yeah. And it's not a process of once a decision is made, it's made. So what does everyone want to see? Well, everyone wants their independent right to go through all of that information. Yeah. Is that what they're asking for? Where's all this call out for other people that have been through this? Okay. Do you know what I mean? Where is this? I think the big thing with Conor Benn is people don't like the way it was necessarily dealt with, or things were said, etc. Fair enough. Like, you can have your opinion on the way things are dealt with. I go back to this point. Yeah. You can always have your opinion, and you can say he dealt with it wrong, Matchroom did this wrong, and we will sit there and go, yeah, did we make mistakes? 100%. Do you know what I mean? Did we learn from it? 100%. Yeah. But have we improved moving forward? 100%. Yeah. So ultimately, I feel the thing around Conor Benn, this whole air around Conor Benn, is because people don't like his reaction to things, and that's because no one's sitting there asking for all the evidence from the other 57 cases, or the other cases that I don't hear anything about them.
No, but is it more a case of if it's what is there to hide?
But these matters are confidential. Okay. Just like when he lost cases, they were confidential, didn't they? Yeah. Now, when he lost certain parts that had to mend the thing, they were confidential. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, it's the same then. Yeah, okay. No. And the answers then were, the process is ongoing, the matter's confidential, etc. Yeah. Like that was, the same answer then. It wasn't just the answer in good times, it was the answer in bad times.
Yeah, okay. Okay. I understand that. Touch on the undercard as well. A few matchroom fighters on there. Liam Smith takes on Aaron McKenna. A really good fight in Viddal Riley against Chev Clarke.
Yep.
It's a real solid undercard, and I'm sure, as you say, them two fights in particular are real exciting fights.
100%. Look, Liam Smith, he's looking for his opportunity to come back and show the world he's still got it. Yeah. You know, he had. It wasn't. I don't think it was him in the second Chris Eubank Jr. fight. Just like I also don't think it was the best Chris Eubank Jr. in the first Liam Smith fight. You know, like not every night is a fighter going to have their best performance. That's the reality of it. Like, that's boxing for you. That's high-end sport. And I think, you know, he wants to come and perform and show he's still got it. There's big fights to be made in that division. Aaron McKenna, though, I think is a real 50-50 fight. Yeah. I think it's a great fight between those two. I think Anthony Yard-Linden and Arthur 3, brilliant trilogy fight there between those two guys. Viddal Riley, Chev Clarke is probably the best undercard fight on there. I've got to say, you know, got a great reaction as well on the card. So yeah, excited. Chris Billam-Smith back out against Brandon Glanton as well. You know, happy for Chris Billam-Smith as well that he's back out so soon.
For Chev as well, to have a fight like Viddal, which is it's a real tough fight in a domestic division, to have that fight come off the Mosquera fight, show credit to him that, as you say, like you always want your guys in competitive fights, and you can't ask for much more for someone like Chev.
100%. Look, the Mosquera fight was a brilliant fight. What a fight to watch, you know. And Chev gave it his all, kept coming, but he always does that. That is what Chev Clarke does. And the reality is, as I go back to the point of takeaway losses, people just want to see real fights, and Chev's the kind of person that's delivering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and moving on from that, we do have to. I know we touched on Vegas earlier, but Pacheco this weekend in a big fight. As you say, I know 12 hours on the zone, but Steve Nelson, his team, they're back up for it. That's all you want in a fight, and I'm sure it'll be a real good test for Diego.
100%. I saw Bomac yesterday going for it, delivering entertainment as always. What a fight! You know, I think Diego Pacheco is on just a tremendous run, and when you think he's 23 years old and the position he's in, the fights he's been involved in, his position, he's number one ranked with the WBO, so he'll be mandatory for that belt in time. He's in a great place, but this is a real fight against Nelson. Nelson's going to bring it, and he's got a tough test in front of him, but I believe Diego's going to show his class. Yeah,
there's a few things I also did want to ask you about, just to rattle off. Caroline Dubois was pretty vocal about Terri Harper turning down a lot of money to fight her. What was, I guess, the latest on that with that offer that was turned down from Terri? Yeah,
Terri wanted more money, and she knows the money that had been offered, like for Tasha Jonas in the past, for fights, to come over. Look, it's a tough fight, so she wants to get paid, and fair enough. Yeah. But I saw the comments as well about the Beer fight and saying it should be a headline. Make it a headline now. Yeah. Like if the Beer will fight Caroline tomorrow, do that a headline. Perfect.
Would you make Ferreira against Harper?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, look, that's something that's there. I think Harper. There's talks at the minute about her possibly fighting at Doncaster at the football stadium, which has been a long-term ambition of hers. Yeah. So there are discussions ongoing. Yeah. But make Beer against Caroline. Yeah.
It's a good fight. Yeah. I did actually see another fight Eddie teased on IFL. He spoke about Pete McGrail taking on Shabazz Masoud. Is there potential plans for that? Because that is a real good fight.
Look, there haven't been too many discussions, but I think that is definitely a fight that we should look at. It's two guys, and again, we promote them both, obviously, but we want to see the best fights. We want to get our fighters involved in the best possible fights and get them into place. It's not about the best man will win. It's about giving the fighters the best opportunity for the biggest fights commercially for them and setting them up for world titles. And that would be a great fight to see. Yeah.
Just to do sign off, I did want to touch on the February 15th card as well. Would you fairly say it's probably one of the best cards domestically match we've put on for some time?
I think it's a brilliant fight card. I think that, and also March 1st as well. Yeah. But, Jack Catterall against Arnold Barboza for the interim title. There's a tremendous promo dropping tomorrow. Okay. Of Jack Catterall during the show. It's unbelievable. Very good. I'm very impressed with what Alex Haynes and the team have done there. Unbelievable fight there. You got Pat McCormack against Robbie Davis Jr., a real step-up fight for Pat McCormack, and the kind of fight he needs. Robbie's going to bring it. So brilliant fight for him there as well. Jazza Dickens against Zelfa Barrett on the card. Michael Gomez Jr., Reece Bellotti. That fight will finally happen. Some young talent as well. Connor Tudsbury, Alfie Middlemiss, Aqib Fiaz, William Croller. Just a stacked card top to bottom. And then, as I say, March 1st as well, Crocker Donovan. It's about to sell out. the arena in Belfast, final eliminator for the 147 world title that Boots holds. It's exciting. Craig Richards, Poddy McCrory on that card as well. Ward against McCarthy, Conah Walker. Just a great card top to bottom.
Has there been compared to last year, has there been a conscious effort in 2025 from Matchroom to improve the
Has there been a, compared to last year, has there been a conscious effort in 2025 from Matchroom
it's definitely
to improve
a focus
the
of
domestic
ours to
schedule?
ensure
I think
we
a lot of
always
people
deliver
were
the best
disappointed with it
possible
last year.
content. I think we were unlucky in parts last year. You know, Catterall against Prograis was supposed to be August. It got moved to October. Dalton Smith had to withdraw from his fight. There were a lot of things. You know, you had Josh Taylor, Jack Catterall was a tremendous fight that was delivered last year. Galao fight, Sonny Edwards was a brilliant fight. And I think there was a period of time that we got a bit unlucky, being honest with you, like a 3-month window, and that sort of sat in people's minds. But I think we've shown on, you know, when you think back to October 26th was Catterall Prograis, November 30th was Edwards against Yafai, you know, and then you look at the other fights, you got Catterall Barboza now, you got Crocker Donovan, we've got other big things lined up, you got Dalton Smith back out here, you got a next gen card, you know, we've got 5 cards in the UK between January and March, ending with Pat Brown's professional debut and a whole host of young talent on there. So I'm excited about what we got planned. You know, we know we need to keep pushing ourselves. You know, we're, as much as the critics are the fans, we're our own biggest critics as well. You know, Eddie is the biggest boxing fan you can meet, and I love putting on shows that are sold out and packed out. And to do that, you need to put on engaging events. So, you know, we're constantly pushing ourselves forward.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Frank, always a pleasure to speak to you.
I mean,
massively
it's
appreciate it.
looking a bit chilly.
You at the 5K tomorrow? I've never done it, but I'm making my debut tomorrow.
But I will be at that run, mate.
Come on, mate. Yeah, but you get warm though, like when you're running.
Appreciate it.
I'll be seeing you there, mate. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Top man.